So in the first month of the Trump presidency, illegal border crossings have dropped 40% in a period where you usually see an uptick of 20%. That's about 31,000 to roughly 19,000 people. To paraphrase Joe Biden, this is a BFD, a big, fabulous deal. Seriously, we just slashed bad behavior nearly in half in a month. That's like Keith Olbermann losing 40% of his brain cells since Trump got elected, or Michael Moore losing a chin in 30 days, or Hillary losing Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in one day. It's what you call an achievement, and one that would be big news if there weren't other big news shooting into space like a T-shirt cannon every 12 minutes. The fact is, if you want stricter border enforcement, just announcing that idea can do half the job. The blind eye, once turned, is now wide open, and it's staring right back at you. Now that illegals know the welcome mat is gone, why take the trek? Certain capture becomes, in a way, its own wall. So get this, it's now as hard to get into America as it is to get into Mexico. And think about who this really helps and hurts. It hurts the ruthless coyotes who victimize the people they transport here. And it helps the folks who are no longer abused and raped by these ghouls. Trump just made Mexico great again. It's a shame that such success is overshadowed by early morning tweets. But maybe it's a good thing. While the media gets bogged down in words, deeds quietly get done. Maybe that's been the strategy all along. That was interesting. Kimberly, happy birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. All right.
Widely rumored to be my birthday.
It is. You never age, though.
Cannot confirm or deny, right?
Exactly.
You're like Dorian Gray. Somewhere in an attic, there is a painting of you just getting old, but you stay young.
In your attic.
Yes. Well,
That's not creepy.
there's a lot of things in my attic, Kimberly, that belong to you. All right. Do you consider this an accomplishment?
The whole thing an accomplishment?
Yeah, well,
yes.
yeah, the 40% drop.
Absolutely, but guess what? Everybody else is burying the lead, right? Because they want to take cheap shots at President Trump. They want to do anything they can to dismantle and delay his forward progress and momentum that he's had. This is a key area. He was very strong on this in terms of his campaigning throughout the election, and now he is actually returning dividends to the American people and delivering on his promises. So this is great for the supporters. It's bad for the detractors, because this kind of facts and progress make them uncomfortable.
It's interesting, Eric. It's almost because of the change in policy, right, that has caused this.
So he says he empowers his border agents to go after illegals and actually catch them instead of the old
Catch and release
that Obama, and by the way, when Obama administration or border agent under the Obama administration catch and release an illegal coming across, they counted that as a deportation. Right. So that's why you're seeing a lot of the numbers go down, because now border agents actually catch them and they don't release them. And guess what happens when there's a penalty to an activity, to doing something? That activity goes down. When you get caught, they realize we're not going to do this anymore. I'm thrilled that we're leading this show with this. I mean, I am just so happy that we're not like, you know, every other show and every other network, even on this network, where we're just ad nauseum going at this Obamacare thing. We're going to get to it, but this is big news. This is, as you point out, the crime that they're committing, but also the real economic damage that they're doing to Americans who are trying to work, and the economic damage they're doing to the American taxpayer when we're providing benefits for illegals.
What do you think, Lisa? Do you think this is temporary? Like they're kind of like waiting until everything cools down, or is this going to be a permanent change, you think?
No, I think it's going to be a permanent change. And in short, I would just say, duh. Like, what do you think happens when the President of the United States says, hey, we are actually going to follow the laws on the books, and the illegality at the border is going to stop? Of course that's going to be a deterrent. And what I found interesting also is, because if you look at the numbers, that October before the election, they saw, I think it was nearly 67,000 illegal immigrants that tried crossing the border, which is basically back to that 2014 when we saw that summer of the border surge from individuals coming from Central America. So I wonder why right before the election we saw this, record high number of individuals or illegal immigrants trying to cross into the country.
Why, Juan?
Yeah, why, Juan? Juan? I was looking at you, my friend.
Hello, Juan.
Hello, Juan.
Is this cause and effect? Is this strictly a correlation? It's coincidental that this is happening? Or is it cause and effect? What Trump is doing has caused this to happen. And how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it probably is cause and effect. I think the rhetoric is amped up, and it's anti-immigrant rhetoric.
Illegal immigrant.
No, I think overall anti-immigrant.
I'm very pro-immigrant, but anti-illegal immigrant.
I am too, but I think that the Trump rhetoric is anti-immigrant. And I think, well, let me just finish the thought.
He married an immigrant.
That's fine, but he's not talking about Mexicans. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But he had to marry a Mexican?
No, I'm saying the kind of, what you're seeing here is anti-immigrant rhetoric. And remember, most of the immigrants, both legal and illegal, are Mexican, right? So just think about that. But here's my point to your talking point, which is that, yes, I do believe that President Trump's rhetoric has had an effect, because I think people think, you know, this is not welcoming. But I hear some bigger effects that are reflected in the fact that there's a net zero migration at the border now for some time. And the key reasons there are, one, the Great Recession that took place. Two, I think that there's
8 years ago.
Yes, and that's what, it drove it down. We have seen since going back 50 years, this is just about the lowest point for people crossing that border legally or illegally, Eric. So what you got there? But I think you do have stricter enforcement and you have more deportation.
President Obama had record deportation.
I'm saying this.
Far more than Bush and Clinton.
All of that contributed to what is the big picture here. So what Greg's talking about is for the last 2 months. I didn't say he was a bad guy.
Well, no, you said that his rhetoric is anti-immigrant.
I agree with that.
No, you said that, so you agree with yourself. So you agree with yourself, which is charming. Except his rhetoric isn't anti-immigrant. In fact, he has a wholehearted approach to welcome immigrants, but we should not be allowing people who are criminal recidivists to re-enter this country in a revolving door over and over again.
I think the big news today was when Mitch McConnell said, the Senate Majority Leader said, when they asked him, who's going to build that wall? Who's going to pay for that wall? Is Mexico going to pay for that wall? He said, no.
Why do you think Mitch McConnell has a say in who's going to pay for the wall?
Oh, you don't think that the Senate has anything to do with approving the money?
I think the House will approve it.
That doesn't matter.
I think the House will approve it.
If the Senate says no, if the Senate says no, Republican in Washington saying
if the House approves and sends a spending bill to the Senate and says, we have this money for the wall. I mean, you think Mitch McConnell's not going to get 50 votes to say, let's pay for that wall?
He's not going to get it.
Oh,
that's what you, I mean, this is fantasy.
Good luck with re-election, then.
So President Trump has said a nation without a border is not a nation. Do you disagree with that? Do you not think that sovereign nations have a right to control their borders or control illegality at the border?
That's not the issue that's really on the table today. The issue really is the 11 or 12 million
on illegal immigrants coming into the United States. How do we not have the right to control that?
No. As Eric was saying, or was it Greg? You know, we've had a record number of deportations under President Obama.
Low under President Trump just now.
You know, it's interesting. I think
the lowest monthly
I'm sorry, Greg, but the reason why I said that one is you claimed that there was net zero migration because of the bad economy, and I said, last year and the year before were record deportations under a president, any president. So what happened in the last month or so? They stopped emigrating?
They stopped immigrating?
Yeah, immigrating and emigrating. They stopped coming here.
What we're saying is that people are leaving. In other words, there are people who are leaving because of economics.
In the last month?
No. Over this period. I mean, the one exception would be, I think it was 2014 when you saw this surge. I think Lisa mentioned when people were coming from Central America.
Well, yeah,
but
we saw the lead-up of President Obama's executive action on immigration as well. It was the lead-up to that November announcement when we saw this record high. I wonder why. Also after DACA as well, because when you basically send a message to illegal immigrants that if you come here, we're essentially going to turn our back on it. Of course, we're going to see
I want to get to something else because I'm always interested in what Jorge Ramos.
I agree. Me too.
He and Tucker Carlson got together, and Tucker Carlson has a show on Fox News doing pretty good.
Yeah,
not a bad show at all.
I
suggest you watch it. Here is Jorge and Tucker talking about what we were talking about.
This is our country. It is yours. It is mine, and it is ours. The interesting thing is that with the Trump administration and many people who support Donald Trump, they think it is their country, that it is a white country, and they are absolutely wrong. This is not a white country. In 2044, this country, the white population will become a minority. It will be a minority-majority country. That's precisely what I'm saying. Latinos, Asians, African Americans, whites, it is our country, Tucker.
But you know what he's doing, which is what kind of what I want to talk to you, Kimberly. Yeah, well, he's conflating concern over illegal immigration with bigotry. He's like, there is a difference between illegal immigration and legal immigration. He is actually being the bigot. He's conflating the two.
We've heard that somewhere.
At this table, I know. I was just pointing.
Okay, but it's really true. But see, he needs fuel for his fire, so he's going to go that way. He's going to conflate because it's the only way that he can try and move the ball forward for his side by then saying that everybody else is racist. This isn't your country. This isn't a white country. It's our country. We're going to take it over. He's saying Latinos, Hispanics, Asians, etc. How is that anything that's unifying and bringing? How is that respecting immigrants when people have come from all over the world to be here in the United States? That's what makes this country great. Not being divisive and saying, no, this is just a country of minorities, or no, this is just a country for white Americans. I mean, he's really doing his argument and his people a disservice.
So let me defend myself, and indirectly let me defend Jorge Ramos.
Yes.
Which is to say, one, guess what? I think it's like 90+% of the illegal immigrants in the country have committed no crimes. Okay. And yet, how is this discussion often framed by the President of the United States, who brings victims of crimes perpetrated by illegal immigrants into the docks of the Congress? What?
That's a crime in itself, to come here illegally. That's why it's called illegal.
Let me just say,
it's against
that is
the law.
That is so old at this point. These people are here.
The law?
Most of them have been here for more than 10 years. They're not criminals, and that is the real discussion about immigration, legal and illegal in the United States.
Just let me clear something up that Jorge Ramos has done, and he's done this time and time again, and Bob Beckel has even done it on this show. When you say that whites will become a minority in 2044, that's a very, very loaded thing to say. Whites will become a minority in 2044 if you include Hispanics and Asians as, when you look at ethnicity, not race. If you go by race, that number is not even close. Right now, the African-American population is
13%.
13%. Latin American population is 17%. So in order for whites to become the minority in race, it'll happen, but it'll happen a lot further down the road.
And also, Jorge Ramos is bringing it up in a way to gin up fear.
Of course.
That's all he's doing. He's just saying, like, you guys, this is going to... It's like, I don't care. I honestly don't care what the country looks like.
I think he was using it defensively, Greg.
So what?
Greg, I think he was using it defensively. He's saying that he thinks Trump is stirring up white resentment against...
And what is he doing?
Exactly.
What a hypocrite. What is he doing? Honestly, he's a provocateur. That's what he is. And he doesn't equip himself with the facts. So enough of him.
All right.
Mic drop.